Hello, everyone. Hi there. My name is Chris Farah. Welcome to my YouTube where I am talking tonight. I don't know why I'm putting that hand down. I'm talking about 90 Day Fiancé. It's the other way. We call it Toe. It's season 7, episode 22. This is the tell all part 2, the end. It's a live recap. It's 5:03 p.m. I'm going to wait and let some people get in the room. But hello. Hi. As people get in the room, would you mind just liking the video, just giving it a good old like, like just a good old thumbs up, just letting everyone know we're happy. We're happy here. We're in good company. We're in this girl's house. It's a little bit of array, but mentally she's there and she's going to talk about a dumb show we all like. And it's the final episode of a whole last season. So I'm super excited to hang out with the booze, also touch base and see how you are all doing. But yeah, just letting people populate and say hi. Um, I really am excited to get this new month, you know, in it's already obviously the 5th, so it's already happening, but boy, is it crazy out there. Hi, Joslo. Thanks for thumbing it up. I will say this. If you are feeling at all overwhelmed, depressed, like somewhat paralyzed, overwhelmed, or what the fuck, I will say that you're not alone because I have talked to many people. And here's the thing, it's kind of like been like that, right? Like it's been in a I'll have to stop saying like it's been baffling and confusing for a while. Pretty much ever since COVID. And actually before then. It's just funny how it's not gotten better. I'm going to clean this off. I just thought it was going to get better, and we are still very much in a time of like, oh no, oh what? And I think it's interesting because there's something about this lesson I won't learn, which is I so badly want peace and security and like a feeling of like everything is going to be all right. And I really keep envisioning that at some place. Oh my God, Papa Baby Pinky Plinky! Gotta jet to G's doc appointment, but catch you soon. Thank you so much for saying hi. Come back. I miss you. Hope all is well. And yes, go to the doctor's appointment. I also have been going to doctor's appointments anyway. Like I was saying, it is a crazy time out there, and it feels like it's been crazy for super long. And I have always kind of dreamt of this like place beyond the sun that feels okay. And I will say that of the 43 years of my life, I've yet, well, I just told you my age, it's fine. That's the mental state I'm in. Just to let it fly out. Yeah. Well, whatever. I've never gotten to that place. Like the feeling of, oh, phew, there, I got something, got that. Okay, let's live, let's do it. It's always feels like I'm in some sort of like walking on eggshells, limbo between places, or waiting for something to happen, or in the process of things looking like they might start in the trajectory and path that I have been like aiming for, and it doesn't. And so it's such a weird feeling to have right now, but also this lesson I have to learn that I don't think I ever get to that place of feeling, oh, all right, okay, all right, man, let's just do it. Like I think that maybe my journey, if not everyone's, I don't know, is like despite feeling all of the uncomfortability and like confusion and like hurt and like whatever, the despair or like the confusion or like, like the not knowing what's going to happen, you just have to live every moment. Like you manifested it, or you are going to pick and choose in that moment just to be happy and choose joy, or whatever it is, you're just going to deal with it. And I have like really great pockets of feeling that kind of strength. And then sometimes there's just like too many things that happen that I'm like, no. I'm 43 too. Like Thank you so much. Hi. 4434343. Hi. Here's the thing. Like, don't worry, I'm going to talk about 90 Day Fiancé. But like, Savannah Guthrie's mom is like a shitty fucking story. And I really want her to come home. And I don't want to think that, like, on top of all of the crazy political unrest and the Epstein list and everything, that someone just also stole this woman from her home, this old lady from her fucking home in Tucson, Arizona. I mean, and ICE, there's all the things, right? She's not more important than all the things. It's like, I think that it's just, there's all the deaths, right? There's just everything. So it's just that there's everything. Anyway, so having said that, I'm having a hard time choosing the joy. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm having a hard time. Popcorn, yellow striped smile. Yeah, that is like maybe I was talking about favorite emojis on the Sister Wives Professor podcast, talking about Sister Wives. And the ones I use a lot are the emoji right now, like the head just smiley head just melting into the ground, like just like I use it for like when my face is melting off or I don't know what to say or is this real life or like what do I do? But there's also like the kind of emoji. Talk about relationships. I mean, my God, I have no I talk about relationships. I am no expert. I am going to talk about relationships, actually. I'm going to talk about relationships in the form of the 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 22, Tell All. It's part 2, honey. That is relationships in a nutshell. Let's get into the end of the season. I'm super excited. We'll start the recap now. 7 minutes. I'll make a note. But I was excited for there to be kind of an old school tell all. Like, for instance, none of these people are living in a house together. This is a 2-part tell all, not 4 parts. None of them are going to a hotel. There's no after party that they're going to film. And the funny part of that is they set up an after party. Like, the end of this tell all, there seems to be an after party at least between Luke, Chloe, and Greta. And like, I don't know, you'd think the 90 Day producers would be like, just send 2 people with them. Just 2 guys in a camera, let them go somewhere. Like they can get pizza at like one of those like shitty pizza places in New York, but like they have a finite budget. And especially it seems like for certain shows. Sometimes I wonder if like the regular 90 Day Fiancé gets a lot of money and if like shows like this Toe got less. Because I even remember watching Javon, I guess that's before the 90 days. This, first of all, let me say this. The fact that we had before the 90 days and Toe at the exact same time was like interesting because there were some crossover where they could go back and forth. Now, it's interesting because for, again, Toe, this tell-all is boring, like, and super mundane. I mean, there are interesting parts just from the drama, but there's nothing that actually happens because of it or after. Like, there is no proposals and there's no pregnancies. The drama that happens, of course, is within the couples. So let's pick up on part 2. Part 2 is when Manan has at first decided to leave. So she's upset. It's so interesting. I have gone back and forth to be like, what's happening with her? Because at first I was like, I think that she is playing, like I said, by the Emily of like Emily and Kobe playbook. Like, obviously Anthony doesn't come from like a really super interesting, culture that we don't get to see a lot, like Cameroon, like obviously Kobe's like culture was so, different from Emily's / ours that we got to see her be kind of like controlling and obnoxious in the first season. This is Emily, but also acquiescing and respectful of his culture. So she kind of had this really great line of being interesting and creating drama, but not ever being super toxic or horrible, so that you wanted to see more of her. And we did, right? They came back on other seasons, and, like now they have like 14 kids, and I actually, I really met them at the holiday party and I liked them, but I liked them beforehand too. Kobe is a goddamn saint. So at first I was like, oh, Manon's doing this. Like, I think it's smart. Like, I think that it's a smart way of towing a line, because let's just face it, toxic behavior from females on this show, and not just the females, but we've seen a lot of it, and they're all on a scale. And once they get too hot, they can no longer be on the show. Angela. For me, Jasmine, but like Jasmine, Madeline, like where Madeline's here and Jasmine's like farther away and Angela's like right, farther away. And maybe the last person is like Lyda. Like, it's the toxic female scale, right? So if you're going to come on the show, you want to have a little drama. And here's the thing: to have drama, you have to like lay bare some part of like a flaw of yours, like it's interesting because in the Manan and Anthony thing, they don't talk about Anthony's flaws that much. We can talk about what they could be, like whether he doesn't have a backbone, or whether he can't speak up for himself, or like whether he doesn't bring enough money to the table, which is something that she said, or, she said he doesn't support her enough, but like that's just not anything we can hang our hat on as being like true. Like, and I think that's interesting because to me, good storytelling is having like both people have something to work on. Anthony surely has something to work on besides not being able to talk or stand up for himself, or now what seems like leave an incredibly toxic relationship is like his flaw. But that's not really a flaw. Now he just becomes like a complete fucking victim. And we're just like, okay. And Manon is now just like a abuser. And I find this turn interesting because I thought she was playing a game. I thought she was playing like the end game of being loud and obnoxious, sure. But at the end of the day, I thought they were going to round around to them having turned a leaf, or her having learned a lesson, or, like them having come to some understanding with their family. Like, as a social media influencer, as anyone who's wanted to be on a reality show, I would assume that she would have known that she would have had to make some leaps and bounds in that way at the tell-all, so that she can come back with a report card. And then we can be like, oh, Manon has changed a little bit. And sure, she can say some toxic things at the tell-all for us to be like, what, bitch, what? But at the same time, have us not be like, because it's hard, if not slash undoable, to watch someone get abused that much. Like, no one really enjoys it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why 90 Day Fiancé like allows it too much, because I've already talked about like obviously the Jasmines and the Angelos or whatever. And it's just not feasibly an entertaining watch for season after season. And so she really shocked me. I was like, I don't even know what to tell you. She shocked me. I was like, oh my God, you're not gonna like get it together so you can sell this soap? You're not gonna like give us a character arc and like give us some redemption and then have us be like, you know what, she learned a lesson. She literally could just be like, and this is so horrible, but this is what I would fucking do if I was her and I was like, looking, I'm gonna start this soap situation, and I'm a body positivity influencer. I've wanted to be famous this whole time. I've been trying to build the social media. Like, obviously I want this. I want the eyes on me, and I want people to like me enough to buy my product. Like, that's another thing. It's like people people want to, okay, it's like, it's hard to, okay, let me say it this way. It's hard to buy a product from someone that you do not like. And the only way you can kind of get around it is if for some reason at one point you did like them, and if that person's product is upper echelon. known, upper echelon, high tier, is, invaluable to you and your daily life in some way, like all those things make sense. Like, let's just, if we used the, trope of an artist that comes out as being problematic, but you're like, oh, I fucking still like their shit and they're coming out with a new song. Maybe you listen to it, whatever, God bless. Is Natalie on the scale? Absolutely. Natalie's face, by the way, Natalie's Instagram post, Natalie looks like a completely different person. I don't know if she's bloated or on pills, but Natalie looks wild right now. Like, she's not doing well. Whoever she's hanging out with or whatever, she's in a bad fucking group of hanger on or Hollywood types that is like, I mean, just, she's not doing well. I'm looking at her and I'm in these pictures and they're not even videos, and I can just tell from her eyes that it's gotten significantly worse. And I think there's like multiple parts of like personality disorder and drugs. Oh my God. It's one of the reasons why I'll never trust Josh, because I think up close, that. And if you are just going to use that to be on a television show, then go with God. And I mean, here's the thing. When I'm talking about being famous, Josh used Natalie, and I'm being ADHD. So I'll go back to what I was talking about, which is Manan. Manan decided to be on the show and then just suddenly come out with a product that no one really asked for and no one like equated her with, and like she wasn't known as being an expert in, or this product isn't so naturally akin to her that we were like, well, Manan from 90 Day Fiancé is toxic, but boy, do we trust her soaps. It's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, listen, I kind of like soap. You know who doesn't like bar soap? Chloe. By the way, can you imagine having a whole tell-all, knowing that at the very beginning of the season, there was a whole ass joke how Chloe does not like bar soap and therefore needs a full loofah, one of those scratchy ass loofahs with bath gel. That's how she likes to shower, with hot water. That's why she wasn't going to be happy in Aruba. That's what happened with Chloe. And there was a whole two-part tell-all. We never talked about the fact that Manon got into the bar soap business. Anyway, funny. It's just that, again, Manon's name isn't synonymous with bar soap, and now it's just synonymous with toxic personalities. And it kind of feels like France already had a whole bar soap business with Léon Sauton. So it was just sort of like, we have those in the malls here and at Nordstrom, and like they're not as expensive. Now, I maybe can be like, Chris, lactose, there's a group of people that are lactose intolerant from dairy, and goat milk's fine, and they want soap, and you don't know that they've been crying out for goat milk soap, and Manon has given it to them. Like, don't take away from them and Manon. And I'd be like, okay, well, you taught me something. So won't she, because of course she had left and she decides to come back and we see her back in her dress. Anthony's like, yeah, she just takes things personally, is always asking for a divorce, and at this point he's fantasizing about his options. I mean, if I was to be honest with you, I don't even understand how you say that and then not hear yourself say it, and then in the next scene isn't like, well, I'm going to separate with you. Like, I can't imagine having myself say that out loud and then also be on camera and then, leave with this person. I just can't imagine knowing that that person's going to hear that I've fantasized about my options. Unless it's just, but here's the thing. There are couples that have dynamics that feel like love, and we don't understand them. And the perfect example is Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, directed by the Mike Nichols. Okay. Yes, the play that also it has Elizabeth Taylor in it, and it's fucking fabulous. Anyway, there's a part of Anthony that I feel like he isn't saying that he gets off on some part of this dynamic. And then you could be like, well, Chris, he doesn't. He's a victim. And I could be like, then I would need to know right now why he didn't leave her after this. Like, is he like, I don't know what he's holding. Like, is he holding on to the fact that she's Ben's mother? Is he holding on to the fact that he needs money to survive? Is he holding on to the fact because he loves her? I don't even know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, he hasn't, his whole character arc, his whole character personality has been without. He's like a shell. I mean, like, maybe that's why they kept dressing him up in different things. Like, it was kind of like to try and give him a presence on camera by just putting him in a mime costume and then now put him in his uniform. It's like when you try and get his thoughts said by him, it's like superficial and very, it was just like superficial and I mean, murky. I don't know if he knows what he wants. It's okay. So, because even when I know this is like part one, but even when his aunt was on, I wanted her to be like, Anthony, can I just, Anthony, are you okay? I mean, now that I am on TV and she's right there and she can't like stop you from talking, Anthony, blink fucking twice. Do you want this? And why are you sustaining it? We don't get the answer to that. So basically at the very beginning, Grace says that she's similar to Manan. We're like, no. But Grace thinks that she is because they're both insecure and thinks about themselves and how they're being perceived. Now, here's the thing. Well, I'm like that. Well, surely I'm like that. I'm insecure and I consider and slash worry about and if, overly about how people perceive me. But I feel like Grace don't manifest itself in being really mean and abusive towards other people. I abuse myself or like I don't, I pretty much neglect my own feelings, emotions, physical sensations in the pursuit of someone else's comfort or happiness. That's on me. But I am also insecure and I also care about how I'm being perceived. It's just like, I also thought it was like, I guess a different way in which Manan and I handle that. And Grace, I don't know, this was her, I guess this was her assertion that they're like, Luke says that finalities are what people like Manan unspokenly and Meline do. And then she comes back and then Luke and Petia talk about Anthony stripping and they rate that a 7. I thought that was gracious. Manan, of course, comes back and she's really upset because she says that Anthony said nothing nice for her on her behalf and that he should have because I let you speak. Now, this is interesting because as she says it, it sounds horrible. And Anthony even knows it sounds horrible. He's like, you let me speak. Now, in her mind, this is what she's saying. I did better than you and I both know I usually do by letting you even talk. So why did you not give me a cookie? Or why did you not give me a gold star? Why did you not say, you know what, you guys? Here's the thing. She's actually letting me hear the sound of my voice right now. Never happens. It's always her voice. So the fact that you're hearing my voice or you even see me is like, let's get it up. Give one up. Standing ovation for Manan. Like that's kind of what Manan wanted. Now, I don't know how you. Okay. First, let me just go back. I'm not a doctor at all. I am a rapper. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. But one thing is true, which is, let's just say, okay, one thing is true. It's hard to deal with people with personality disorders. It's just very hard to deal with them. That's what I read. That's what I've heard from professionals and the internet. Same thing, but specifically, I've talked to both those people. And I wonder, first of all, okay, I think it's hard because you'd have to You have to someone's own perception of their world is so loud that not only does it trump everyone else's, their own tie to it is more important than their want for other people's happiness as well as their own health and like mental mental state in this world. This is a weird thing I'm trying to say. If you are not able to be aware that you need help, if you are not and you don't want the help, then there is no help to be had, right? So some people with personality disorders either don't even know they have a personality disorder, and also if they were to be told that, they would not believe it. They'd someone you would have, I mean, I've never been told I have a personality disorder, but like, could you imagine being sat down as being like, here's the thing, you have borderline personality disorder. Like, I'm assuming that you could get a whole bunch of reactions, but I'm sure denial or defensiveness would be it. Or getting up and running like, no, fuck you. You don't know who you're talking about. What are you talking like, right? And even it's like that happens. And then the ability to look at the entire situation of your life from a different point of view than yours might not be ascertainable for them. At the same time, there are so many people on reality shows that have personality disorders. And I don't know if Manan does, but she wouldn't be the only one if she did. Then my only thought is there a way to then also literally show them scenes of them and things they said and like, I let you speak, pause. So you to consider the fact that you have the control over someone to let them do something and to think that you deserve an award for allowing a basic human freedom from someone else, that's personality disorder behavior. Like, would you be able to like isolate that for them and then have them get that? And through a series and have them be like, not in, well, whatever. That was just one moment. And they're like, okay, well, let's look back. We have a whole season. And then find another moment and be like, this is when you weren't able to let his parents talk when you were in their house. It's just so you know, that's indicative of someone who's like not aware of like social cues or how they're coming off, like maybe a little narcissist. Like, I wonder if you could do that. And I wonder if like after time and after being literally shown their own behavior, if there were people that would be like, oh my God, I am. Have to deal with it, process it, either say I'm sorry and then allow themselves to go through a process of therapy and then actively work on deciding to change their behaviors in the real time and real moments of when those toxic behaviors come up, and are there actual cases of people getting past that? I really want to know, and not even for just this show. You know what I'm saying? Because it sort of feels like a lost cause. It feels like once, and I hate to say that, it feels like once you get to certain places with people and you might realize that they might be stuck in certain behaviors that are like, oh no, they'll never shake out of it. What do you do? Like, what is their hope? And like, how do you move on from that? Please tell me if you've had like, if you can give me any like examples from your life of like someone like that, because like, I just talked about borderline personality disorder, but like every fucking person in this world hears the word narcissist now like 17 times a day. Like, so is the same for narcissists? Like, could you do the same thing? Could you be like, hey, I guess Jax Taylor knows that he's a narcissist. It's like, well, Jax Taylor, who knows he's a narcissist, said he is, went to therapy. I wonder, I guess I'd have to know in real time how he is able to cognitive behaviorally like change his emotions or, like reactions in the moment. Anyway, and would they affect his behaviors? And would he be able to like have closer relationships? Like, would his relationships change like romantically and with his parents and like with his like siblings? I don't know this person's life. I mean, I kind of do, but not really. I don't even know if he has siblings. Okay, God bless. But that's so that's my thing because it feels like with this tell-all alone, Manon's behavior, if it is real and not a fake personality, is so obviously a personality disorder. The amount of times that she leaves, like in a huff, not allowing him to say anything, like not hearing the way that she comes off. Some other things that are very interesting. Again, I thought Manon was going to want to be famous. And so, because I thought she wanted to be famous, I thought that she would do what Madeline does on this tell all, which is talk, not just about herself, but have opinions about everyone. Greta at one point's like, we're supposed to have opinions. Now we know they're supposed to have opinions. It's because we know the producers are like, yeah, we have this host, Sean, that basically doesn't do anything except wear asymmetrical dresses and then just like pretend to have an earpiece and then like, start and stop the show. But we need you guys to formulate opinions on each other's behaviors as if you've watched each other with a lot of detail, as if you're all podcast hosts for a podcast that covers the show. Shout out Vanity Fair. But like, often they're not. They're just normal people that just decide to be on a reality show. Who knows if they watched it? Who knows if they have opinions about each other? There are people that you would assume wouldn't say a word and don't. Matthew, at one point I'm like, is Matthew still there? Did Matthew leave? Matthew left, right? Because Matthew doesn't say one fucking word in the tell-all part 2. I mean, nothing. I thought Manon was going to come with some opinions. I thought Manon would want to. I thought that she'd want to come with like some one-liners. Maybe she'd try and like have a fight with someone. Like the Chloe Madeline showdown is the like cat fight of this tell-all. And that's it. Like Manon's entire demeanor is defensive. Like a squirrel in a corner. Like it's again, I find that interesting because I thought that she was sassy. I still think that she should just literally come out with a statement and be like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I cannot believe my behavior. I have never been on a reality show before. I felt for some reason wildly threatened and, my nervous system was thrown off the entire time. I don't know why I thought it'd be a good idea to try and save my marriage by moving across the country into my parents' house where I had a lot of trauma and that was why I had left, and then decide to film a reality show all at the same time as my marriage was crumbling. Like I'll tell you that I made all those choices myself and they were detrimental to my emotional and mental health. And then they filmed it. Like she could, and I also started a business. Like she could be like, I didn't realize like the pressure I was putting on myself, and the results were, like a caged animal attacking. And having watched everything and having watched the tell-all, I have been able to sit with myself and go to therapy and realize that I have trauma that has linked itself within me, and I am trying to, I am trying to separate it from my day-to-day life, because that's all we're doing. Like if you have trauma, if it affects your life, if it makes you, and we all have it, right? Like in some ways, but like if you find yourself overwhelmed with your nervous system and its reaction to things, if you have inappropriate reactions to things, it could be because your system is on a state of like fight or flight, right? And the truth is, if it's happening to you, you either know it or you don't know it. Now, if you don't know it, then you have a profound disconnect from your body and your mind. A profound disconnect that you can't realize in time, that the only person getting upset is you and you are suffering for it. Okay. I mean, like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I keep talking about this situation. It's not even real time. I hope that Manon if she ever was to hear these words, isn't like, oh, this bitch hates me, but more so, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so after they fight over Let You Speak, it goes on to Luke and Madeline time, and she was born ready for that spotlight. Because Madeline comes with some things to the tell-all. Like, Madeline comes, A, wanting to be on the next season, B, wanting there to be drama with other people, and she's probably very upset that she can't be there in real life, so she has to be in the monitor, so she wants to do the most. C, she knows that her accent is funny. And you're like, Chris, how dare you tell us accents are funny? And I'm saying, historically, Americans think accents are funny. That's not my fault. That's just because we're racist. And second thing is, yeah, it's comic to say, it's comical to say poopies instead of puppies. Now I know that. And you know that. You know who knows that? Madeline knows that. But I think she's breeding those poopies. I mean, is she making money with the breeding of the poopies? Okay, so he is no longer living in Colombia. He's now working back in the States, which is basically what has been happening the entire time of them being. He always comes back. It always feels like for 2 weeks, every 2 years, he decides to get like a whole trip paid for by being on the show and going back to Colombia. But they're still together, which we're like, really? Because, obviously we've seen internet pictures of her just like being like, he has a tiny dick and that's why we're not together anymore. It's like, so small. Beep. Yeah, it's hard to get over that. And you know what's so funny? I believe her. Anyway. So basically then we also get this like wild story that she now has her K1 visa. And we're like, what? You just got married, but how? And A, she's so happy because she's literally being like, that's why I'm going to be on the next season. K1, it's now time. I'm going to be on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm going to be in America. They're like, yeah. This is how it worked. So we had totally applied for that. But then we put on this great wedding. You saw it. Turns out, as we're about to turn in the paperwork to legitimize that wedding, we get the email saying the K1 visa has been put through. And as you know, it's a fiancé visa. So we decided to go with that. So conveniently, the wedding was neither here nor there. I mean, it was there in Colombia, but like, it has no legal ramification in this world or the next. It was like some big activation party with, man on wet jet skis and her in a pageant gown, I wonder, I mean, is she going to use that pageant gown again? And she can just like dip it in some paint and dye it all one color, right? So then we get a series of 2 improbable stories so wild. You're like, okay. It feels like with this first story with Madeline, it feels like you are babysitting like a 4-year-old and you come in and there is just baking flour all over the kitchen, all like this, like just every fucking like frost, like just everything is everywhere. And you're like, hey, Madeline, what happened here? And basically Madeline doesn't have her wedding ring on, which we get, we're like, well, what happened there? And people are like, she pawned it. And instead she's like, no. I was having car trouble, you see. And while I was changing the oil, which we're like, you changed the oil? Okay, girl. And then the hot oil came up out of the radiator, burned her hand, and it was on the ring. And so she had to take off the ring and then put the ring in her pocket. And then, I mean, it's like, well, I was sitting here watching Bluey, and a wind came in, and I was like, "No, wind." I closed the door, and then somehow the pantry door opened in answer, and then I was like, "No, pantry door," and as I go to the pantry door, the flour fell out all over the place and on my face, and I was like, "Go back in there. I didn't do it." You're just like, "That's not a real thing that happened." She sold those rings. She needed money, and she knows that he will just have to buy her new rings, or she secretly thought they were too cheap. So she sold them because she, I guess, like, in a very passive aggressive way is like, "Buy me more. Buy me better." Now, here's the thing. We all know that's a fake ass story. Luke has to know it's a fake ass story. Does Luke press her on it? Does Luke say, "I can't believe you did that"? No, Luke does not. Luke, who's sitting at this tell right now, flirting shamelessly with Chloe. We're supposed to believe is the same Luke that like wouldn't talk to her about the fact that she lost her rings, nor the fact that we know that he like bawled crying at their wedding. I will give him this, that if everything is fake, how did Luke cry so much? I can't cry like that on command. Would he have onions in his pockets? How are you going to cry that much at your wedding when you see that person and then also have the audacity to disrespect the person that you cried that much for by like flirting with someone else? So close. I don't know. Like, if we're to believe everything we see up front, then that is like very shitty. Are are men so fickle? Are people so fickle? I could believe that Luke is fickle because I think that, Luke says this. Luke says, you know, um, that he just wanted a cool, different dream life. If Luke's in America, he's working at an engineer somewhere, and all his friends live in Fraser Park, like, and their idea of a good time of like throwing a bachelor party is at some dude's house and getting like one kind of okay stripper to come. Like, it's a pretty mundane, basic life. It's just not indicative of anything that has like culture or sophistication or soul. That's true. Like, to me, and this is my bitchy opinion, Luke's life of what he showed us in America isn't attractive. It seems, I don't know what's the word. It just seems kind of like depressing. Having said that, he feels the same way, and that's why Colombia represents like him being a baller, like him wearing furs, like him being like a guy that like gets things done and like is an entrepreneur and has like money coming in and like hooks up with really, really young looking girls, with obnoxiously long fingernails. Like, it's all of that. And so he has somehow poured whatever he had into like the continuation of this dream. It almost feels like Columbia and Madeline are like slot machines that he like saves up all of his yearly, incomes to go play for 2 weeks, hoping to somehow hit it big and or like, yeah, cosplay as this like whatever highfalutin resort owner, developer, what beauty shop owner, multi dog owner or whatever that doesn't exist when he's home. It's kind of like, remember, like almost like Westworld or something like that, Western World. Remember that? Anyway, that show. So basically, we get called in, his friend Brian, and we knew that Brian was like his friend that like thinks that he should not be with Madeline. Also, Brian and Madeline knew each other before Luke. And then we get our second absolutely bananas story, which is that Luke let Brian borrow money And the way this is set up was this. Luke says that at one point Luke himself was cash poor, so then he takes a loan, but then he gets money and then like from this loan, but then somehow he gives all of this money to Brian, and it's in the form of like gold, and it was going to be like a business deal, but that Colombia is real scary and has like problems and has a lot of corruption. So we're supposed to believe that Brian was held up for like $150,000. Like we're supposed to be like, what? And that Brian then lost all of Luke's investment by nefarious criminals. But then everyone, including Madeline, says that it's Brian who has to pay us back. Which is like, did Brian set up the criminals? Because that's not how. Okay. I mean, like, okay. I mean, if I let someone money for a business venture, and I believed that they got held up and that money was gone, I just don't honestly understand how I would be like, well, bitch, pay me back. I would just assume that this person doesn't have the money. They are a victim of this really horrible thing. They almost got killed. They almost literally got, like, Brian almost got killed during this situation. The way they all treat it, as if they thought that Brian had set up this whole situation to get the money stolen so that he either didn't have to pay Luke back or had more time, or like that is literally what it feels like. I mean, the fact that Sean Robinson isn't like, what? I'm sorry. Are you guys talking about like is this like illegal drug activity? Maybe she knew she couldn't say that. I mean, this literally sounds like they're fucking dealing with cocaine. They had a shipment that went. I, I don't know. But I'm going to just say this. If Luke is dabbling in any sort of fucking drug dealing, first of all, you're so goddamn dumb for being on a reality show. Also, B, like, I feel like it's not the first time that someone was like just doing something illegal while being on a reality show. So basically, at one point, Madeline calls Chloe Kate, which I thought was hilarious. I also just was so happy because Madeline at least was talking. Literally, I'm like, people aren't saying anything. Like, I could use just like a lot more from a lot. Like, Petia barely said anything. Like, Dylan tried to say things, like, people were not interested in each other in this tell-all. At all. Even the ones like you think that are gonna like happen a little more, like Johnny versus Anthony. Johnny early on and Anthony early on in the part 1 of this tell-all had a lot of differing POVs, right? Anthony is like, a man is me. I'm the example. And Johnny, of course, is like, a man is me. I represent all men. We just fuck everything we can. So alone, if I was a producer, I would be like, let's get that. I would just in fucking Sean's ear be like, hey, Sean, why don't you ask this person how they feel about that? And I only bring it up because it's good producing. So yeah, Greta versus the free chocolate. On Reddit, they had this picture I really loved of like Greta going to town on the Oreos in the craft services. Like, God bless her, she's like, I'm not gonna let all these Oreos, which are vegan, by the way, full of chemicals, not healthy. That's fine. A lot of people are like, oh my God, if you're vegan, you're healthy. And that's not true. I'm not saying all vegans aren't healthy. I'm just saying doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. And I worked for years at Real Food Daily. It's like it's not even is in existence anymore, but it was an organic vegan restaurant. And because a lot of like the textured soy proteins just have so much chemical. A lot of the vegan products have a lot of just chemicals and different processed oils and things like that. Anyway, having said that, Greta, pocketed what looked like 14 packets of Oreos. And I was just like, girl, are you going to like go back to your hotel room, get a gummy, open up fucking Netflix and find yourself a good night? Because so anyway, let me say this. So that is what happens. And we don't know exactly when that happens. We assume that happens at the very end. But before that happens, we have a break. And at the break, Grace, Luke, and Anthony drink Red Bull, which I'm so like, is this like a Red Bull advertisement? And then Chloe and Grace and Luke talk being single. And then that is when Chloe leads this march. She's like, well, we're all single and that's great. Like, we should just do it. Like, why don't we all go out tonight? Like, yeah, why don't we all go out? It'll be me. It'll be you, Luke. Yeah, Luke. And then, yeah, Grace. Grace, you want to go out with us? It'll be great, great, great. And I remember this moment of like, Chloe, you are just using Greta as like a third wheel so that you can get Luke to go out with you for whatever attention and or like fun time you want. But if I'm Greta, I know immediately that this blonde bitch is trying to make me be a third wheel. At that point, I'm like, listen, if we're all staying at the same hotel in New York, then yeah, I will be at the lobby and I'll have a drink and Luke will pay for it. And then I'll just let you guys flirt all night. But like, I'm not going to like try and go out for 3 of us in New York and let you guys just like touch each other all night long. I'm Greta. I can look at a cat on live stream and be just as happy. So anyways, at this point though, Manan and Anthony are not doing well, and this is suspect. They are having a conversation behind a black curtain because, as we know, the backstage area of these tell-alls are like a Thai massage parlor. One big room with curtains up where you really never get full fucking privacy. And specifically, we assume they're changing and things. And these curtains, have areas in which they are not completely shut. So just so happens the camera is able to get a full shot of Manan as she is just like, I'm heartbroken. I'm so upset. You didn't try and like stick up for me. She's watched Anthony like get chummy with the other people in the tell-all cast. You know what's so interesting? He's like barely talking to them. They're all cast members in a tell-all. They're just sitting around in the breaks. Like they're just like the fact, and there's cameras all around. They're obviously being filmed. All of the conversations we see with Anthony and other people are just basic, boring ass conversations. They're not even conversations where you're like, wow, Anthony has made a friend here. Or wow, Anthony and this person have a certain je ne sais quoi. Their minds think alike. Boy, what a similar energy or vibe. He is basically just meh, 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 meh. And somehow all of this for Manan has become too much. So she is like, I want to leave. The only thing that I want right now is to be naked in bed with you breathing. And he's like, no sex, right? And I don't know why he says that. She's like, no, my libido is down to 0. Like, I don't understand why he's like, no sex, right? Like, I don't know if what he's saying is because I don't feel like having sex with you right now, or if he's asking her, are you only bringing this up because you're trying to sexually manipulate me? And so I will only go home and lay naked and breathe with you in bed if you are willing to not have sex with, if you're willing to not try and sex away our problems. And I don't like, it's like, I don't understand why he says it, because if he doesn't want to have sex with her, then why is he with her? Like, if you, and it feels like can't sustain the emotional abuse of this situation, but you also don't want to have sex with this person, then why are you with this person? Okay. So basically she's like, let's fucking leave this popsicle stand. And she does. She gets him to leave. And the producers must have been like, girl, no. One other thing about this is just so interesting to me is like, Manan, I don't think you can be on the show again if your work ethic is just that you won't film. It I feel like there's, there are certain like caveats to like being on the show, and I think that you have to be watchable and entertaining and sure have drama, but the flip side of that is that I think that you also have to be like a person that can work with other people. And or that's why okay. Somehow I think Jasmine is obviously wildly crazy slash wants to be famous slash toxic. All of that is true. But she keeps being on the show, which makes me feel like behind scenes, she's a goddamn gift to the productions. I mean, she must bake them cookies. She must have them all by name, by birthday, their children's names in her iCal. She must give them thank you gifts. Like that is like what I'm considering. Like in the sense of just the other side of like having to come back and be like wanting to film. But if you refuse to film, like contractually, I'm assuming the production's like, we don't want to work with you anymore. It's just too hard. And also you assume that you and your wants and needs are paramount and chief over the production. And listen, if you're ever on a reality show and they're making you do something you don't want to do, then surely don't do it. But also you have to assume you're never going to be on that reality show again. Because most productions toxically consider their production to be the chief most important thing, right? And in a way that it kind of equates with money, because like time is money and production's money, and if you waste time, you waste, production, you waste organization, that's like money, and therefore whatever. Manan certainly chose herself. So all I'm saying is I would be so surprised if we ever saw her on any other 90 Day Fiancé ever again. I'd be so surprised. Anyway, so yeah, Sean is, comes back from the break and she sees that there's no Manan and Anthony, although there's shoes, and she's like, oh, okay. She doesn't make a comment. It's on to Dylan and Petia. He apologizes for basically calling her a sex worker. They're still engaged, although she is now in Texas to be away from his mom and near malls. I don't believe them either. So you're engaged, but you won't live in the same country? Now, this is where it gets annoying, because then we get her being like, I just can't do it. And then him being like, so guess what? I'm coming to America. So then I'm like, oh no, was this all set up to have 2 seasons of them? Because I don't need it. They just don't have it. I don't get their love, their romance. They're not sexy. They're not funny. They're not engaging. I don't see their love at all. And it's not just his fault. Neither one of them are particularly watchable or funny or entertaining or charming. She has a very whiny voice, and I don't know what her end game is. And he seems like a robot, like an AI robot, and I don't know what his end game is. The only person truly with any sort of like life or any sort of authenticity in their storyline is Joe. Like, I feel like Joe is a real person. Joe is mom. So basically, Joe comes and FaceTimes in, and then, we're back to the same square one, which is another reason why I'm like, if there is no forward momentum in this, I don't understand why I have to watch the fucking same scene over again. So, right, Joe's on, and then Petia's like, "Admit it, Joe, you never liked me." And we're like, "Oh my girl, we've already seen. Didn't this conversation happen now for you like 3 years ago?" Joe has to be like, "No, you always thought that. It's not true." I don't actually know how to do that. God, I really should get that. I should get that accent underneath control. I'm so sorry. Every time I try and do it, I'm like, it's gonna sound good this time, and it doesn't. Um, so basically Joe's like, "No, that's not true." And so then, she's like, "I give you my blessing." And then Petia cries because we're supposed to believe that now Petia gets that she got the blessing. But then Jen's friend Lynn comes out, and then we get this like really, flaccid part where Petia's friend comes out and tries to humiliate Dylan's mom, Joe, by being like, "Yeah, I've heard the conversations between Dylan and his mom, and they are inappropriate." Now, we're hot on the fucking heels of like, before the 90 days and, Forrest and his mom, Molly, like talking about Bananarama's things. So when Petia's friend says this, we're like, well, what? And Sean, who we literally know never to ask a follow-up question, even this is like, all right, well, you did say that. I did hear it. What are you alluding to? And then they're like, okay, I just think this is so weird. She's like, they have conversations about her doctor's appointments. Yeah, she tells her son about her OBGYN. And the way she said it wasn't like the intricacies of an appointment, but just that she had gone or was going to an OBGYN. And I found this wild because you would have to tell me that Joe was like literally telling her son like description words about the inner walls and dryness of her. Like you would really have to let me know exactly what it is. Because if she's just telling them that she's going and getting some checkup or she's going and getting a pap smear, yeah, I've got to go to my GYN and get a pap smear. And maybe they found those couple of those weird cells are going to freeze off or whatever. Like all of those things that happen, they seem kind of like run of the mill, like body things, right? Like that is what happens, like you have to get a pap smear and sometimes the cells are a certain abnormal. That's just one small thing, I don't even know, like I'm trying to think of like things that aren't sexual that someone would just say that's happening and why you would take offense to that, especially as a woman. Now, the other side of it is like what I said is if for some reason she's like, well, this is not what happened, but if fucking Joe was like, "Let me tell you, son, I went to the OBGYN today and that doctor looked at me and went downstairs with my vagina, and they just kept telling me how supple, ripe, younger than average, how great feeling and how I was basically a supermodel of vaginas." Like, you'd be like, "Okay, we don't need to know that. Like, it's weird." Like that's the kind of maybe conversation or yeah, I don't know. I personally, yeah, I think that human bodies are human bodies. So there's just a lot of inappropriate conversations you could have with someone, especially like parent child, but it's not about doctor shit. Like that was so weird. And also Petia is having her friend say this, which means that Petia and her friend talk about this. Petia has a leg to stand on by being like, "You talk to your mom every day for an hour while I'm there." Because they basically get him to be like, "Hey, Dylan, can you just talk to your mom when she's not there? Like when she's at work?" And Dylan's like, "Yeah, right, mate, I can." And to me, I'm like, I don't understand how that wasn't brought up as a solution a long fucking time ago. Like the problems and challenges of this couple seem not real. Not like An actual watchable storyline. All right, mate. Well, then I will. I will now talk to my mom when she's at work. There, cheerio. The bitch doesn't even live in the same country as you now, so it's a fucking moot point. I just like when they said that he was going to come to America, I was like, why to watch more of them? I was just like, please no. Please no. Absolutely not. You need to be one of you need to be in one of you has to be stripping every night, if not both of you, and you better be flirting with other people. You better talk about the fact that what did she groom you? Is that why you were so young? What happened then? Because there are pictures of him when he looks very different, very young. Also, what are you both getting from this? Also, have conversations about what actually happens when she gets older. And also talk about the debt. What happened to the debt? We're not gonna talk about the debt at all. Not at all during the tell all. Not even like it didn't fucking happen. It's, by the way, I'm not blaming Dylan and Petia about any of this. I blame the producers. Okay. It's not Dylan and Petia's fault they're unwatchable. It's castings. Okay, so now move on to Jenny and Sumit. Jenny and Sumit are still living with the family. That blows all of our minds. They also ask Sumit how the family cafe is doing. And Sumit's like, well, it's still there, but my parents don't work there anymore. And Jenny doesn't work there anymore. So we're like, no, it can't possibly be there because what you're saying is that it's still there, but no one works there. Now, we know off camera, no, it's not there anymore. Basically not. But we also know that like you can't do it all. Sumit tried to literally have every one of his family members do everything. And he thought that he was just going to run around and look at them all do things. Because remember how the big thing was Jenny didn't make proper change? But what Jenny was saying was that I'm the one that just makes things. I can't be making things and handling the money. To me, that was always Sumit's like fucking problem. Okay. I love you guys so much. That's so true. Dylan should be on I Love a Mama's Boy. You know why? Because I don't watch it. I listen to every podcast, but seeing Chris is new to me. Hi, it's me. Oh, thank you. Unless you're talking about Petia. He can't cheat. He was always talking to mom. So he's going to move to America, and what's he going to do for money? Plum? Just have the money coming in from those 3 other properties? His brothers are going to like be the landlords and the maintenance people? Okay, so sorry, back to Jenny and Sumit. So they're still living with the family. They're saying the cafe is still up and running, but we know it's not. Okay. They have no sex, which we've been knowing. No sex because they can't. And this is weird. Like Jenny's like, we can't have sex. Your parents are in the next room. Sumit's kind of like, well, we don't have sex. But that's on Jenny. Like Jenny won't have sex. And it's almost kind of like he's saying we could. So we get FaceTime with Anil and Satna. And we also find out that Sri and the brother, I think Amit, moved out. Now that is a feather in the hat for Jenny, who's like, see, you and everyone is always like, this is what we do here. We all live together. We all live together until the end of time. This is what our family / the culture does. And you are not respecting our family / the culture if we all don't live together. But what I'm seeing and what I'm telling you is that your own brother and his wife, that should be perfect. Sri is everything that your mom sees I'm not. Sri is age appropriate and is Indian, grew up with the culture, knows all the things, knows every one of the things, and is age appropriate. She should be a goddamn princess, and she hates your mom. Now, I know probably that Sri is not laying bare like on the tell-all everything we want to know, which is like what happened and why they moved out and like what she thinks about the Jenny situation is, but boy, would I love that. Boy, would I love that. Yeah, I mean, Jenny's like, she left, why can't I? Now, this is where no one asks the questions I needed to ask, which is like, Sean needs to be like, okay, Jenny, you say you want to move out. Now, we heard you say that Sean does say this, that you were going to move out with or without him. Is that true? And Jenny has to kind of be led to be like, yeah. But I guess I want to know this. Sean should be like, Jenny, can you afford to live by yourself in India? Yes or no? Because I need to like that is like what is the first door. Can you, at least in your mind, afford to live by yourself? And if the answer is yes, then Sumit doesn't have like, then we move on to Sumit. Like if Sumit can say the following things, yes, we might have technically enough money, but it's really hard and I'm always struggling. Then we're like, Sumit, can you get a job? Like, because there's a couple of things happening. Jenny's not going to get a job because I'm assuming that Jenny gets some amount of income. I don't understand how or where, in the sense of like Social Security, or where it happens if you don't live there or whatnot. Some people on the Reddit streets are like, yes, and maybe she doesn't get as much because she got out of it early. But I don't want to have to ask questions about people's financial situations. I feel like it's rude. But in this situation, we keep having an argument about her wanting to move out and not live with his family. And the reason why we aren't doing that is money. So I need to know what's real, what's not. Like, is she just fantasizing about living by herself, but she knows that she can't afford it? Because yeah, as I said, basically it's like this situation where she's obviously in America. We don't really know exactly why, other than the tell all, he's not there. She is going to go back or not. She's kind of led to say that. She's comfortable sitting there, but has to be prodded to make any sort of ultimatums or assertions. In fact, Sean basically makes her give an ultimatum, and then afterwards, like, and is that an ultimatum? Like, it's so heavy handed. I honestly like don't I mean, I just don't know about I don't know about what is happening with that. And I don't know how it's like what the next season is. Like, to me, at this point, he has to come to America for a certain amount of time. Because I think that, like, as I said, like, you have to move along the goalposts of the storyline. Like, you can't have scene after scene after scene of something and then just never have it move past it. It's just like, yeah, it's fucking Groundhog's Day. It's why I don't want to have the conversation about like, oh, what was I saying? About how Petia and the mom, Petia and Joe, talking about Joe's negative opinion and whether it exists or not, and whether Petia thinks that Joe's ever going to admit it or not on camera. It's like, I wouldn't want to watch that conversation again. I've already seen it. So anyway, same thing. So basically, at this point, for whatever reason, the producers, we leave Jenny and Sumit, and then we go back to Johnny and Chloe, where then Johnny is like, Chloe, we had this sexual chem. We know it. Why don't we just like try again? And she's like, well, I'm not going to ever come back to Aruba. But he's like, yo, yeah, I'll come to Boston. We'll make it work out. And Chloe's like, no, you won't, buddy, because there's also hot girls here. So if your madness from you being a man just, makes sure that your dick can't stop jumping in some other one's hole, it's going to happen in Boston too. So I don't need you here. Okay. And Johnny's like, okay, okay. And then they're like, Johnny, anything else? He's like, yeah. Just as like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Johnny, are you dating anyone? He's like, yeah, it's a little complicated. Like, what, Johnny? And he's like, yeah, it's complicated. Just like in the situation where she's pregnant. And they're like, what? She's pregnant? And he's like, yeah, it's going to be a girl. And Chloe's like, what? It's going to be a girl? And then he's like, yeah, so yeah, I'm just like with this person. And they're like, Johnny, literally seconds ago, you tried to be with Chloe. And he's like, no, I didn't. I was just saying like I would just be a friend. And they're like, no, bitch, you fucking just said that you were gonna like move to Boston. And then she had to be like, no, you're not. You would put your dick in some other woman. And you were just rejected. Like, here's the thing. For me to talk 45 minutes about Manan may or may not having a personality disorder, I don't think Manan deserves as much of the vitriol to me if we're not giving it to Johnny as well. Here's the thing. Anthony's still with Manan. They're married, and he and her are there in real time, right? Chloe had the fucking good grace to leave Johnny in Aruba. So now we just have Johnny being like FaceTimed in. Johnny, I'm not a doctor, but surely has something that like keeps him from feeling empathy and understanding like other people, nor, and I also feel like he has like uh an absolute ability to like compartmentalize the way that he presents from like and also how people might be have opinions of him, whether he thinks he can like manipulate the entire world out of seeing how he treats people, or if he is wildly used to his like charm set in a shitty patriarchal world absolving him of his toxic behavior. I'm not quite sure. But Johnny's toxic behavior is akin to Manon's toxic behavior. It's just the following things. A, Johnny's not in real life. Johnny doesn't feel threatened. Johnny has now a pregnant woman. He's knocked up someone else. Johnny moves to this world like a weird snake, you know. Johnny has a certain charisma that unfortunately the bad boy side of that like is attractive. I wish not to me, but to others. Manon's physical appearance in this patriarchal world isn't as charming to other people. To me, she's better looking than Johnny. Johnny gives like a street rat. Like, you know, like literally like the not cute version of Aladdin. Okay. Um Manon's, you know, toxic manipulation is palpable and we can like look at it and see it when it's happening, right? She literally is like, I just want this, let's leave. She like gets him away. She like really wants to isolate him. She really feels, you know, abandoned or incredibly defensive when, you know, people call her out on anything. Like those things are such. But we obviously watched Johnny in real time manipulate Chloe during that conversation. We saw him even maybe like be like, get your earrings, knowing they're not her earrings. We saw him in this like keep talking about how the sexual chem was so much and then try and like get her back. Meanwhile, he has knocked up and is having a baby with someone else. Then a part of this happens, and let me just say, Anthony, for better or for worse, I said that he didn't really give us a lot of like personality this season. The most that we get from Anthony is him during this tell all, sort of having to process his own feelings and having to deal with listening to other people and their toxic behaviors. And that is very hard for him. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard for him. He does have like a natural, as I said, POV against sorry, this is funny when this is when Meline called Chloe Kate. I don't know why I thought that was funny. Sorry. Like I said, Anthony and Johnny have contrasting POVs on being a man, right? And it's like a natural, fun, like argument to have. At this moment, when Johnny says that he has a baby on the way, Anthony is like, is this your first child? Now, the streets of Reddit and the internet will tell you no, no, no. I don't know if this is true. because I'm not a doctor, I'm a rapper, and I'm not like a population expert in Aruba, nor some person that like owns his fucking family tree. But people say that he has like 6 or 7 goddamn kids. Now, I don't know what's true or what's not, because to me, if he did, that piece of information would be readily available. And I cannot imagine a world in which the producers wouldn't want that to be information that comes out on the show. Ideally, as a surprise for Chloe later. Like, to me, we would have been like teased this like Johnny being like, I have a secret I haven't told Chloe yet. Yeah, I waited for Chloe to get here because I thought that she wouldn't come if she knew. And then like be like, hey Chloe, I just wanted to tell you that I I have a couple of kids. And have Chloe be like, what? Dirty Shirley, please. How many kids? And him be like, 7, 6 or 7, not quite sure. 6 or 7, maybe 8 now. I'm not quite, and then have, Chloe like have to deal with that. Here's something else. Were you guys like, why did no one talk about whether he has kids? And also, were you guys like, why did we not FaceTime with Chloe's mom? Because to me, if I was a producer, I would have had Chloe's mom be right fucking there. Right there to watch Chloe's mom get to judge her own daughter for wanting to have this rebellious moment with this asshole who is now gonna, knock up some woman and ruin her life. I just like I would want the mom's face to be there to be like, oh my God, I'm glad it's not my daughter. And also, I would then want Chloe's mom there to be like, hey, Chloe's mom, do you know about Chloe's sugar daddy that gave her $20,000? The 32-year-old, do you know about that? Because Chloe said it on national television. And Chloe said that she's real close with her mom. So I think that Chloe's mom does know about it. And I feel like Chloe and Chloe's mom were a huge part of the season. So I literally do not understand how we had this tell all and Chloe's mom wasn't part of it. To not have Chloe's mom during that last segment, to in real time having her witness her daughter, like find out that it's pregnant was so it would, that chef's kiss. Chloe starts crying and then Johnny's like, oh, Chloe, I didn't know that you'd be like so upset. Because I guess it was their dream to have babies and have girl babies. I thought that was so funny when Chloe was like, you're having a baby. It's a girl. I can't believe you're having a baby. And it's a girl is what she said. And she started crying. And it's because I guess maybe that was, as I said, their dream. But to me, for a moment, I thought that she was crying from the very real possibility. And what I was crying about was that Johnny was going to fuck up some woman from the ground up. Oh no, you're having a daughter? You're going to fuck up some woman from the ground up? I mean, Johnny with his like hyper regimented like gender roles, specifically how he is able to justify his shitty behavior as being genetically part of his fucking DNA. That shit is not indicative of a parent that's going to raise any child right. So does that mean? That means that when you have a daughter, like she has to fucking wash all the dishes of your sons and make all their beds because the sons get to go out party and like it's just like what? I hated that. So yeah, when Chloe started crying, I thought for a moment it was going to be just like the universal cry of feminine womanhood everywhere being like, no, one of us is going to have it hard. Oh my goodness. Pirate DNA. You guys, so interesting. Oh my God, please rap. I sort of lied. I seen a rainbow yesterday, but too many storms have come and gone, leading to tracing that one God-given right. Just kidding. I love the fact that I can't rap anything from any sort of rap song from 2010s up. I don't even know if rap still exists. I'm assuming no. Um Anyway, so basically, oh, I forgot. I'm talking about this tell all. Where did I put my notes? Okay, well, basically, I'll just tell you what happens. So the tell all ends. The tell all ends because, Johnny's pregnant. And then now Johnny's all over like People Magazine or Us Weekly, and he has a beautiful woman that is having his child. And, prayers, prayers for the best. Afterward, like they're all coming out. Chloe gets out of her heels, and then Jenny and Chloe have a cute hug. And Jenny's like, "You're so small." And Chloe's like, "Yeah, I had heels on." I really like Chloe's personality. And I like Jenny's personality. And I get Greta. I've always gotten Greta. Yeah, girl, fucking go home, 2 gummies in, get your 30 milligrams of like weed on, and just dive into those Oreos. Sure, girl, sure. Because yeah, I mean, like Luke and Chloe can like, drink whatever espresso martinis they want to together. Here's the thing. Chloe at this point is either going to be with a guy because she is hormonally sexually attracted to him and he delivers some other like variable like being a rebellious fuck you to her mom, which is low-key what I think Laura's doing with BeerCon. Different situation. Or Chloe's going to be with someone that's going to look good on Instagram, and that person has to have like what the influencer kind of girl wants, which is like someone who's hot, someone who has a good job, like someone who's hot and has a good job. And by good job, I mean like someone who's on the road to financial stability or financial success. I cannot imagine a world in which Chloe decides to be with Luke for the following reasons. A, Chloe has a natural personality to be on a reality show. She's funny as fuck. She's quick-witted, and she's like a cute girl, and she, is young enough to like not know any consequences and just like let it all out. I never thought that she got on the show to like be famous. Now, of course, a fame hungry move. Oh, that was my phone. A fame hungry move would be to try and like pretend you're dating another cast member to try and get looks on Instagram. You see that a lot, and we have a lot of people in the multiverse hook up with each other as friends or romantic partners just to get literal like eyes, literal collaborative posts on Instagram, right? And that's the game. It doesn't seem to me like Chloe wants that. At the same time, I want more Chloe. I would absolutely love Chloe to be on like Single Life or Hunt for Love. In fact, I think she's perfect for Hunt for Love. I think that she's hot. I think she has a good personality. And I think she has like a genuine authenticness about her. And her toxic behaviors are just naturally part of her, naiveness and her being from a privileged, situation, like I want to see it all. I want to see her snappy one-liners, and I want to see the Cartier rings. I want to see her with, like various stages of her bleached hair. Hopefully she gets like some fun products, put her in a cool locale. The girl already loves Aruba. She said she want to go back. Put her in a hot fucking bikini and put her in Hunt for Love 2, please. Please. I want that. I'd be so excited. Anyway, so that's what I want. I want you to fix Chloe's hair. She, what, her hair looked good though for the tell all. I think, what that hair needed was A, to not be so bleach blonde, and B, to have like for sure conditioner like the Shoot Umara or Mizan. Those are my favorite brands. And then, but she also could have done like a keratis. And here's the thing, I've never done keratis. Which is like, like a bonding kind of like glossing treatment or whatever. I realized that my hair doesn't look great when I'm fighting the texture. Like I have fought the texture of my hair for so long, so that if you like, for any reason, you don't have to, but if you look back at pictures of me in life, of like recent, like I had like long hair and I was like wearing like halo extension pieces and stuff. And so to do that, I would have to make my hair, and this is a blunt cut of my hair, and it's air dried with no product in. So it's not at its peak form. Like if I had put curling stuff in it, If I put like a curl mousse in it and had scrunched curled it and had done a diffuser or something like that, you would see like fun curls. Okay. Having said that, before then I was trying to use like a Dyson to make it straight or put some like back waves in it. And then inevitably it would just be frizzy at the like roots. And then anyway, you would see the frizziness of the root and then would get like a little straighter towards the ends. You can't fight your texture. Her hair at the tell-all looked perfect. It was professionally done, like a professional blowout. From the thickness of her natural texture hair when she was in Aruba, I think that she has curly hair, okay, or wavy ass hair, like. So now I want to see what her hair would look like if you did put product in it and do all the curly girl styles. I don't know if anyone here has curly hair now, but every like 3 years they got a brand new system to do curly hair. And now the system is, like before it was like, yes, wet, you have to have like dripping wet hair, then you put the product in. You never use a normal towel, you use a t-shirt. Now they have this brush you can brush the product through that has these grooves at the end that kind of like then gnaw or like teeth out the individual curls. Yeah, her hair is beautiful on Mary Payne's recent. Yeah. I was about to so glad you brought that up. Chloe was on Pink Shade, which of course is Mary Payne's podcast, and they have a video of her. So yeah, and that was a great I got inside scoop. She was great. She has a great personality. Like she has a very fun, engaging personality, so much so that I need to see more of her. And it's always interesting how that happens because their storyline had drama and she's not a perfect person. She said stupid things. She's a young stupid, we're all stupid people. We all say stupid things, especially for being like, whatever filmed. And by stupid things, she said things that were ignorant, right? Her like thinking that Johnny was gonna be able to just like suddenly afford hot water every week, is just not, conducive. But boy, was it fun to hear. Being privileged, but also, and being in complete awareness of that is hard. But I don't think Chloe is a bad person. There's like, yeah, like I think about this a lot. I really love the movie Clueless. I was just talking the other day about where I was talking with a group of guys. I live in Los Angeles about LA movies. And I was like, they're saying, all the ones they're saying, I was like Mulholland Drive, and that's true. And like Chinatown, that's a boy movie. Like, that bowling movie people love. I don't know, like Big Lebowski. I was like, oh no. And then came to mind like all of my favorite LA movies. And it's like, I was like, Slums of Beverly Hills. They're like, what? They're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, yeah, Slums of Beverly Hills. And the other one is Clueless. Clueless is a prime LA movie. I think such a good LA movie. She's at the fucking Rodeo Drive with the things like she's, they're always talking about Melrose and like the Galleria that like makes so much. It's such an LA movie. Anyway, the character of Cher is a good person who is privileged, right? Obviously privileged, so much so that she's out of touch, right? Like she's going to talk about Haiti being like, yeah, it's like my dad's party where you just invite more people and everything is totally chill. Like, and it's like, it's such a good example of someone who's like a good person who just wants everyone to have fun. No, she's so ignorant that she can't truthfully, which sucks, but you could see how understand the struggle and turmoil of at this moment the Haitian people, right? This person, Cher Horowitz, lives in Beverly Hills in the 90s. So she does not understand the true pain of the Haitian people or like what has to happen. But at the same time, she's not advocating for America to like cut them off or not give them aid. Like the Cher Horowitz character is like, no, let's give them aid. And so having said that, it's a big, just example of like sort of how I feel about Chloe. She's ignorant, but she's not mean. She just happens to be so. And we can understand and give her grace why she's young as fuck. And she's, comes from money. So she's not had to know what it's like to think about how to pay for hot water. I mean, and I want her to, like, having watched this season, just like, if you're going to, like I said, if you're going to watch yourself and behave, learn from yourself and be like, "Oh, yeah, that's probably obnoxious to hear." And I can see how that would make people think that I'm an obnoxious or mean-spirited person when I just didn't quite realize how lucky I am and how, like, whole groups of cultures and nations, like, don't live the exact way I do, and how they certainly are happy and survive, and how I could too. Like, whatever. So, that was the end of that. I love how you love the 90s. I know. Oh no. I do love the 2000s too. It's just that ever since 2010, it's no, I guess ever since 2015. Ever since 2015, that was like the last good year, feels like. I have I have got to. And so I'm going to say this out loud to a public microphone live. And this is like maybe what I shouldn't say because it's like my soul. I have to find a way to be okay and happy with the whatever's happening currently with myself and the world. I have to. I can't not. But it seems and I okay, half of me is like it's rebellious to be okay in the face of such things, and the other half feels like what a horrible thing to say, like you have to choose happiness in the face of like such turmoil, and is that like a privileged thing to say? I don't know the answer, but I will say that I think I think I do have to choose the first because I don't know how people do day-to-day living without just a certain amount of like disconnection between yourself and this world, or yourself and thoughts that don't sustain you or like keep you present. That's why I think that I end things like with a moment of like present mindfulness, because I think that the more that we can connect to like what actually is, which is that we are in our bodies in this present moment right now at 6:40 p.m. on the 5th of February. Like right now this is truthfully where I am. I'm not in the future, I'm not in the past, and I'm fine right now, right? Like I'm fine. I feel a crazy amount of empathy for what's happening all over America with people being scared to leave their homes because there's just like random bounty hunters just roaming around with Amazon bought police tags. Like that's wild. At the same time, there's like a lot of other horror in this world, and I like feel, there's a lot of wars, and there's a lot of like, confusion, and I fucking can't stand everything about the Epstein situation and everyone that's like protecting people on that. And when you read the snippets of some people that are in it and what they've said to that person, like that's wild, and I should have to stop reading that because it's never going to get better. And I really want Savannah Guthrie's mom to come back home, safe, like it's because I have family in Tucson, Arizona that are older. And so for some reason that story is like really hard for me because yeah, I just said it. I have family that live in Tucson, Arizona, and that could happen to them. So I'm like, no. Okay. This is a hard time. I just was like, let's have a mindful moment. And then I did everything I'm not supposed to do. I just did it, right? I just let my mind worry about everything. That's not what's happening in real life. Those are just worrying thoughts. I would label them in my mind from a third party looking in. Oh, those are worrying thoughts. There's a breath. What's happening now is my dad's calling me. I should probably pick up soon. Hey, I'm going to tell him I'm on a live. Hi, I'm actually on live on YouTube right now, but can I call you back in like 5 minutes? Take my time, he says. Well, I love you. I'll call you back, okay? So basically, to have to remind yourself to bring yourself into this present moment, align your mind and body to where you are in space and time and being okay that you are in fact alive, everything is fine, so that you can move on to the next moment. I mean, God bless us. That is like the work I'm doing right now. So if you feel at all any sort of like weirdness too, you're not alone, okay? Thursday, there's a new Trader episode. I'm so excited. Okay. Thank you, Stella. You know what I fucking wish? I wish that I just had all of Greta's Oreos and the rest of the Trader season just to watch. So, having said that, you pulled me out of it. Hugs will get through it. It's true. And I really appreciate you. We're going to do a breath. Know this. Coming up in the docket, this was None of a Fiancé, obviously, Toe. This week, I had a very fun week on Vanity Fair before the 90 days. My friend Matt Marr of Reality Gaze was on the episode with me, and we literally just sat at this desk, drank a whole bottle of Justin Isosceles, and talked for almost 2 hours about Before the 90 Days. So it was such a fun episode. That's on the Vanity Fair RSS feed. So wherever you listen to podcasts, please go subscribe. Please give me 5 scars. Please give me 5 stars if you haven't yet. Could totally use that as I transition the podcast from DocuSweeties to Vanity Fair. A. B. Another episode on Vanity Fair right now, also on you. Another episode on the Vanity Fair podcast is a collab with the Sister Wives professor, Dr. Adam, for the entirety of season 20's Sister Wives, plus a roundup of what happened at all the 4 tell-alls and kind of looking future, seeing what's going to happen with season 21, if we think there's going to happen a season 21 of Sister Wives, plus obviously looking back. That was such a fun episode. So if you like Sister Wives, that's on the RSS feed. Yes, Traders is happening. I was trying to get, honestly, a fun friend of mine to come talk Traders with me, and she talked Traders with me last season, which is my friend Anne. If I can get my friend Anne to come on and do it with me again, I will. If you know Anne has a podcast called We Signed an NDA. She was Tom Sandoval's assistant during like the Vanderpump Rules situation, okay, which is a hilarious thing for her, that just happens to be like she is a very funny comic and improviser here in LA. So she's been watching Traders, and her version of that on Patreon is just like she gets high and watches it. And I want to do a collab with her. I don't know exactly how to do it because she literally watches the show high on her couch. I want her to come on my podcast and talk about it. Well, she could do high or not, but anyway, so having said that, everything I said before about what's happening in the world, having paralyzed people, it's not just me. And so I want to get Anne on, but I know it's been hard. She's been going to protests and stuff like that. So I'm behind on Traders. I might just have to do the episodes I'm behind just to get it out there, and I'll do it for YouTube for sure. If I can get it on the RSS feed, ideal, it'd be ideal. I'm behind though, and I want to get it done. So why didn't something about her work out? It's because I am trying to get her to watch the episodes with me, but it's very hard to juggle lives like work. She's going to protest, and she has her whole her own health to take care of. It's hard to align everything, and when there's a lot happening. So she is going to come on. When I said it didn't work out in time for me to get like the lot that I wanted to do, the episodes that are already out. So she's still going to happen. It's just that, as you know, an episode for Traders happens tonight, and I won't be able to record with her tonight. So that's all of that. Now, my loves, everything on the docket has been said. We're going to breathe, and I'm going to give you my socials. I'll give you my outro. Don't even worry about it. But obviously, please subscribe. Please like this video. Please comment after it goes up. Totally helps me. And I have been so enjoying watching and having your comments tonight. Like, thank you so much for spending some time with me. It really means a lot. And also some new faces. Thank you so much. All right, my loves. So here it is. If you aren't usually here, this is how I end it. Normal, social medias. You can follow me, of course. I'm at Chris Elfera. I'm on that TikTok, and I do fun 90 Day Fiancé stuff on TikTok. It's easier. But I also have my Instagram, and tonight I'm going to go see a fun comedy show. So that'll be, different and interesting. I'm at Chris Elfera on Instagram, on TikTok. I think that says Twitter, and I forgot that no longer exists. I also have a Patreon, Chris Farah. I have a Substack, Chris Farah. I have a Facebook group, Chris Farah. Please like my page there. You can also like Vanity Farah, the group, and I always post before I go live. Of course, Vanity Farah is also the name of the podcast where the RSS/audio lives, and you can go and listen and give 5 stars there. Hi, all of those things happened. Second part, let's get together. For some reason, in real time at 6:48 p.m., there's 18 people in the room. I'm so thankful. But 18 people are all together in this moment. So wherever you are presently, even though I keep talking about everything else, we are all sharing this very moment/space together. So if you can, I call all of our mindful souls to just be present. The best ways I have found to be present is to use your breath or just use present sound, like the present sound in a room. Unfortunately for you guys, I have insecurity about my voice, but my voice is your present sound right now. So if you can, we're going to use both. We're going to breathe once as a rehearsal breath in and out, and then give ourselves another chance. Because the mind, although you think you should be able to control it, is wildly a little bit monkeyish and will just, happily fling itself from thought to thought. So let's blow out everything, and with your breath and with your mind, bring yourself to this moment, this easy breezy, non-threatening, healing free moment where we're all together, and that feels lovely because we're not alone. By nature, we can't be. We're all in this very moment together. It's incredibly healing, at least for me. Okay, blow it out. Rehearsal breath. In. We're going to do one more time. You are here. We are here in this moment together. We've chosen this, and it's like a beautiful gift we've given ourselves and somehow each other. You don't even know each other, and you barely know me, So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, here it goes. In. All right, my loves. Like I always say, take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art. And know that it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be big. And art can be a finely worded text that showcases a part of your spirit or soul to someone, maybe. Or it can be what you cook yourself for dinner tonight. Or it can be how you make your bed tomorrow morning. Or it can be a song that you have been singing and you just sit down and hammer on a melody to. But don't rob yourself of any joy, because I think that might already be happening. So instead, find it with abandon. Don't worry about being cringy, and hold on. Okay? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Okay, my babes? Bye.